Hello, welcome to this Nmon for AIX Starter Pack video. I'm Nigelargriffiths. I work in IBM Power Systems, Advanced Technology Support in Europe. In this video, we'll be looking at the Nmon Analyzer, a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet for analyzing the Nmon data. To use the analyzer, you have to have already captured some data. There's a video about that. As a quick reminder, you use the Nmon with the -F option, and then you use -S and the time between the captures in seconds, and then the number of captures. In the previous video, we used this particular command, Nmon-ft. The T also brings in the top processors, 5 seconds between each capture and 60 captures, so that lasts for 5 minutes. We'll be analysing the data we captured earlier. The next thing you'll need is the analyzer spreadsheet itself. That's on Developer Works. You can use the tinyurl.com link, new -nmon-analyzer. to actually download that. When you get there, you'll find the Nmon Analyzer webpage with some few hints and tips. If you scroll down, you'll find this here, and this link you want. It's been stable for 2 years now, and it goes to show how well Steve Atkins wrote this program, or spreadsheet. So it's the Nmon Analyzer 3.4 version 8. Download that link and have that ready on your Windows PC or laptop, and a copy of Excel ready. Now we have the required prerequisites. We're going to unzip that analyzer file that we downloaded. We're going to move our Nmon data file to your workstation. I use FTP. You can use any method you like. Make sure you do that in binary mode so it's not mucked about. And then we're going to start the spreadsheet, load the Nmon file, and have a look at the data and graphs. So here I am on my Windows 7 workstation. This is the download file. This is the Nmon file. It was only 5 minutes worth, so it's not a very big file. Most of that is the configuration that's taken once. So we need to unzip this. Here's the actual analyzer, the .xls. So I'll pull that out, and I actually have a user guide. Lots of very interesting facts in here. Lots of questions I get are already answered in here. For example, what does the weighting factor mean? Okay. So we're going to start up the spreadsheet in here. This was written in Excel 2003. I'm actually using Excel 2007. There are some little quirky things doing that, and even more when you're running 2013, the very latest version of Excel. But again, they're documented on the forum website and in the user guide. So let's start that up. Okay, these days Excel is very worried about all these macros. They could do doing horrible things to your computer, so we need to go and switch those on, enable the macros. There's a lot of Visual Basic in here that actually generates the graphs, actually creates more details as well. So we'll select the button, we'll select our file, so I need the one in this case, very easy to find, and off it goes. It's asking me how I want to name that to save it. By default, you'll get .nmon.xlsx. So you can take this off if you want. Okay, and then we have the all the data. Now, I haven't got a very high resolution screen in here, but it all seems to be working okay. This first one is a nice one because we have the physical CPU use up in here. This is coming up to 3.5 CPUs. We also have the I/O. See the I/O hit a peak in here. Now in this 5-minute data capture, I was just running a few commands to make the machine look busy, and then did a whole lot of disk I/O to make the disks busy, so they're not very interesting. But we can see the mixture of the CPUs and the I/O, the disk I/O, mixed up on the same chart. Down below I have some statistics about the averages and things that are going on that can be useful. I tend to then go to the next tab in here, because this tells me about what version of AIX I was running on, when it was collected, what the parameters were for the actual collection. They're all down in here, and some other basic bits and pieces. Now we're not going to spend all day going through all of these. The BBB sections are the configuration. The BBB-P is quite interesting. Here we have an lsconf output, tells you about the configuration of the machine. Here's an lparstat -I, This has all the virtualization details on it. And if we search for IO level, we'll find down in here that we can see exactly the level that we're running at. This is AIX 7 TL3 Service Pack 4, came out 2014, week 41. Okay, then I'd like to look at the LPAR stats. This is comparing the entitlement, which is up here at 4, and the physical CPUs. We can see we started creeping up towards that 4. Then there's some other bits and pieces here. We only got a couple of CPUs in here. That's not terribly interesting. We've got the disk summary. You can see me kicking off a program that's doing mostly writes out to the disk. It's actually a yes command generating stuff into a junk file. Over here it allows us to move across, but we've got loads more tabs in here as well. That was the kilobytes per second. We have our disk busy numbers in here, so you can see we were doing all the work on the first HDisk 0. That's just a simple LPAR. We also have an example here of this weighted average. This is the average ignoring the time when it's not doing anything at all. So when it's in use, then it's on average at 70% busy. Is the way to look at it. You can actually look in the details in here to find out how it's calculated. It is documented in that user guide. I'll slide over here a bit. We've got lots of disk stats in here. Then we've got some other things. File I/O. This is the reads and writes. Going through the read and write system calls. We have some adapter I/O. We can see we're writing on vSCSI, as this is a virtual machine with virtual disks. We have some what's happening to the file system. We can see this is me writing out into the temp file system of how they've been changing. We have some various memory stats in here. New memory, but this is a largely unused LPAR, so it's not actually looking very busy. Normally these numbers are very much higher up in here. We also have this numperm. This is the amount of data in the AIX file system cache. And we can see it's right down the bottom here, hardly using any caching at all. Network, we got some information in here. It's a particularly nice little graph in here. Oops. Where we have reads above and writes below, and then you can see if you're matching, every byte coming into the machine is actually going back out of the machine, or whether you're on balance, you're doing mostly writing. Databases have small SQL statements, but lots of data going back typically. We've got the paging space in here, where we weren't doing anything. We've got bags of memory available. We got things about the CPU pools. We have things about the processes. The run queue is particularly interesting. We hit a peak of 25 things on the run queue, and there's more data down below. Process switches, and here we have system calls. So we can do, on this unbusy system, we're doing 13,000 system calls a second. These numbers seem to go up every year. I can remember these when they were in the hundreds. Down here we have the top processors. And we can see here, this is my NCPU that was making the busy CPUs, and we have the yes command in here that was generating some I/O. So in this case, not very interesting, but you can see all the data there. You can see in here, this is the time snaps. This is the ZZZ lines that you see in the Nmon file. This is the timestamp we're using in the rest of the data, and this is precisely when it actually happened. Well, that's enough to get you started. We'll probably make another video looking at great detail of all the statistics and what they really mean. I'd like to point out that it's the Nmon Analyser that has actually added so much value to Nmon over the years, and so big appreciation for Stephen Atkins. He actually took the package, is no longer working with IBM. Well, that's enough from me for this little movie. You can find me on Twitter as Mr. Nmon. You find lots of movies from me on YouTube. I've got an expert blog, and there's 2 virtual user groups, excellent places for lots of material and information about running AIX and power systems. If you've liked this movie, why not click the thumbs up below?